Imagine you have a scenario where you are not able to script the application starting process or something like that. Application installation process, you are not able to script it. Is there a way I can manually do all these steps and convert that into a image? So that is where Docker commit comes into picture. So using Docker commit, you can convert a container into an image. Okay. So this is kind of something on a worst case scenario, you can use this approach, but please don't, it is a bit easier. So don't get used to creating the images from committing the containers. Okay. I will tell you the reason why this is not the best approach. Once we are done with this exercise, I will show you the example why we should not go in that approach. But you are allowed to commit a container as a image. Okay. So for this lab, what we are going to do, we have written a Docker file, right, which will be installing Apache, and it will be starting the Apache in the foreground. Okay. All those things, we are going to do it in a manual method, and that container, anyway, I'll be doing that inside the container, right? That container, I will be committing it as an image, and using that as a base image, I'm going to write a Docker file to expose the port number and mention the CMD. Okay. So this is what we are going to do next. So this is the way you can manually create an image instead of doing it via a Docker file. And this will be useful when you have an application which cannot be scripted for the installation and configuration. In that case, you can use this method. So let's start with this. So let me connect to this machine. So first, let me bring up the Ubuntu container. So the option is Docker run -it. If I just run the Ubuntu container just using Docker run, so it is just going to go away because there is no running process associated with it. So I'm just going to bring up the Ubuntu container in an interactive mode. That's why I'm using -it option. So till now I was not using the -it, I was using daemon mode. So this one I'm going to run it in the interactive mode. So the image I'm going to use it, Ubuntu :18.04. This is very similar to what is our Docker file we are using. And inside this Ubuntu, I need to get a shell. So I'm going to bring up the Ubuntu image as a container using bash shell. So this is what I'm going to do. So then I'm inside the container now. Okay, you see the prompt change there. Let me execute the same set of commands I have put in the Docker file. So apt-get update, and then let me install Apache 2, apt-get install Apache 2. So let me ask for a prompt. Let me approve that. Next, echo testing manual image creation /www/html.html. So I'm just writing this content to the index.html file, and I need to create the script file which will be starting the Apache in the foreground. So let's do that. So for that, apt-get install Vim. So Vim is an editor. So the default Vim is the VA editor. So the default Ubuntu image will not have the Vim available. So I'm installing it. Next, let me create a file called run.sh. Using VI, let me create a run.sh. There, let me repeat the same commands what I have done. So first, let me load the Apache variables. G2 dir -t /var /run dir -t /var /log /apache2. Let me start the Apache in the foreground. Sir /sbin /apache2 -d. So I'm loading the environment variables, making the run directory and log directory, and starting the Apache in the foreground mode. Cat run.sh. So next, let me provide execute permission for the run.sh. So chmod 755 /run.sh. So I have completed all the steps which needs to be done. Okay. So the only pending is I need to provide the expose command, and I need to specify this run.sh should be my startup command for my Docker. So that for that I will write a Docker image, but whatever the steps which I do for the installation and configuration of the application, I have done it manually. So let me come out of this container. So type in exit and you are out of the container. If you do a docker ps-a, you can see there is a container in the exited state. So that container, I am going to commit it as an image. So the option is docker commit the exited container ID, and let me call it as Apache manual. Okay. So I'm committing this container as an image. So that image is available now. So now if I do a Docker images, I can see, yeah, Apache manual image is created. Okay, but see the difference in the size. Okay, and also in the Docker history command, you can see what I was referring to as a disadvantage. Okay, so the first issue with the manual image creation is it tend to have more size rather than the image created with the Docker file, because while you're doing manual things, you will be performing lots of action and you will be installing utilities which are needed for the manual action. So the image which is created in the manual method tend to be like having bigger size. Bigger the size, it is going to take lots of memory on your Docker host. Okay, this is one disadvantage, the size. And in the layering concept, there is no multiple layer created for all the actions which are executed. So this tends to take more time to transfer the images. because as the layering is not available, so I will not be able to retain the layers, and only the abstract layer will not be passed. So all the activities I have done are stored as a single layer. So I have no other options other than pushing the complete layer. So the time taken to push and pull images is going to be longer for the manual steps. So this is the reason I advise use this manual image creation method as a extreme case. So you have a situation where you are not able to script the installation and configuration, then you can go for the manual method. So now this image is not having the expose command and the cmd command. For that, let's create a Docker file which will use this image as a base image. On top of that, it will have the expose and the cmd command. So let's do that. So let me mkdir manual cd manual and vi docker file. So from Apache manual expose at and cmd / run.sh. That's it. The Docker file is ready. And let me build it. So Docker build -t manual final dot. So this build will be a bit faster. And let me run this. So Docker run -d -p 80:80 and Apache manual final. If I try to browse this page, that's okay. So I can see testing manual image creation.